The rain hadn't stopped for 3 days straight, the kind of downpour that made the streets glisten under the neon lights and forced strangers to huddle together under shop canopies. Inside a small diner at the corner of Maple Street, the air smelled of coffee, fried eggs, and old dreams. The single dad, Mark, sat at his usual booth with his 8-year-old daughter, Sophie. They came here every Friday night, not because they couldn't afford better, but because this little diner had become their safe place, a quiet routine in a world that kept reminding Mark of everything he had lost. Mark wasn't like most men his age. At 34, the lines on his face were etched deeper than they should have been, the product of sleepless nights and endless worries. 2 years had passed since his wife, Laura, died in a car accident, and though time was supposed to heal, he often felt like each day only stretched the wound wider. His daughter was his anchor. Sophie had her mother's smile, the kind of smile that lit up her whole face and softened the heaviness of his world. He worked construction jobs during the day, sometimes double shifts, sometimes side hustles on weekends, and though his body ached and his spirit often cracked, he kept going, for her. That night, as Sophie colored in her notebook and Mark sipped his coffee, he noticed something unusual. Their waitress, a young woman named Emily who had always been cheerful and attentive, seemed off. She was moving quickly between tables, avoiding one particular booth at the far corner. Mark's eyes followed her, curious. At that booth sat a man, tall, broad-shouldered, with a rough face that made him look like trouble. His arms were covered in tattoos, his expression unreadable as he drummed his fingers on the table. Something about him seemed familiar, though Mark couldn't place it right away. Emily avoided eye contact with the man. She glanced at him only once, and in that split second, her face revealed everything: fear, discomfort, and something that looked a lot like old pain. Mark's gut tightened. He had seen that look before. He remembered it in Laura's eyes during their early years of marriage, when her ex-boyfriend used to show up unannounced, trying to control her even after she had chosen a new life. That same shadow was now written across Emily's face. Sophie tugged at his sleeve. "Daddy, why isn't she going to that table? Isn't she supposed to?" Mark looked down at his daughter, then back at Emily. He forced a smile. "Sometimes, sweetheart, people need a little help facing things they're scared of." The night stretched on, and the tension only grew. Emily busied herself with every other table, her hands trembling when she had to pass near the men. He didn't call out, didn't shout, didn't make a scene, but the silence between them screamed louder than any confrontation. Mark recognized the quiet intimidation, the kind of presence that said, "I own this space, and you can't escape me." When Emile